This is how you make a heart-shaped concrete dough bowl from a do-it-yourself silicone mold. Watch closely because people feel overwhelmed by making their own silicone mold from a prototype, but it's super easy if you follow my steps. And while your next concrete candle you make could be the one that brings in continual business day in and day out, all this potential could be wasted if you don't step outside of your comfort zone and personalize your creations. But how do you make your own silicone mold so you too can make heart-shaped dough bowl candles? What do successful silicone mold makers know that you don't? The best silicone molds are created systematically by following 5 simple steps, and this video is going to walk you through them all. Let's go. Hi, my name is Jay Catalano. Step number 1, find a prototype. The first step is quite simple, yet it's also the most challenging. Huh? Let me explain. Finding a prototype should be straightforward, but it's not. Which prototype are you going to try to recreate, and where do you find these dough bowls? There are some things you need to consider, and I'll mention more about that in a sec. To find a prototype, I look in various places where you can find unique items to use. I look on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, eBay, Walmart, Amazon, pretty much anywhere that sells these types of items. However, there are 3 criteria I like to have in place and something you need to think about too. The first is they can't be unduplicatable by law, meaning I am not going to use an item that is trademarked or that has a copyright. Dough bowls, for the most part, don't fall into either of those categories. The second thing is they need to be between 6 inches and a foot in size. If they are too small, it's not worth it. And if they are too large, it's unmanageable. You know what they say, size matters. The third thing is they need to be unique in that no 2 dough bowls look identical, so that when I finally get it, I too can personalize it even more, making it my own before making a mold. Here is one that I found, and what I love about it is it fits my criteria. It's a little over 6 inches, and with a little extra personalization, this is the only one of its kind. Step number 2, preparation. Alexander Graham Bell said, before anything else, preparation is the key to success. So let's get prepared. The first thing you want to do is make sure you have enough silicone on hand. I'll link a few silicones that I use and have had great success with. Notice how I said enough silicone on hand. I one time was making a silicone mold and only had 3/4 of sufficient silicone to fill my mold. Luckily, silicone sticks to silicone. It also annoyingly sticks to your hands. So I was able to buy more and complete my project the next day, but boy, it's not fun when you get so far in a project to be halted by stupidity. Anyway, we also need to prepare our heart-shaped dough bowl. If you're going to personalize your dough bowl, now is the time to do it. When I say personalize it, I mean carve out your name, put a logo on it, or sand down some of the various parts to make it more unique. You know, that kind of personalization. After you finalize that, you're going to want to seal your dough bowl if it's wood. Most items should be fine without sealing, but if it's not wood, then do a quick search to find out if your item's material will cause cure inhibition when silicone is added. What is cure inhibition? Cure inhibition occurs when certain substances or conditions interfere with the curing process of silicone, preventing it from fully setting or hardening. Wood sometimes has that effect on certain types of silicone. However, once it's sealed, that problem magically disappears. So, after completely sealing your wooded heart-shaped dough bowl, measure it so you can make a mold master. Now, I'll tell you what a mold master is in a second, but when you measure your heart-shaped dough bowl, add an additional 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch around each side. That extra space will be filled in with silicone so you can fully encapsulate your dough bowl, which is necessary for an easy casting process. Now, what's a mold master? It's just a box, cylinder, or container that is going to house your dough bowl while you add in the silicone. There are a few ways you can get your hands on a master mold. You could buy one from a marketplace like Etsy, but that could be costly and quite frankly, no fun for us do-it-yourself crafty people. If you are super crafty and you have a 3D printer, you could 3D print your own. Or if you are cheap, you can cut out a master mold from cardboard like this one here. Or if you are cheap and super crafty, you can find an item in the house and utilize it as your mold master. Now I like to think of myself as all three: cheap, super crafty, and cheap and super crafty. However, even though I have all three prepared for this video, my $1 bucket from the Dollar Tree store wins the deal. Look at how nicely this fits in. I mentioned this before, but the key to a master mold is there needs to be a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch wall of extra space that helps you to fit your prototype inside so that the silicone can encapsulate the entire prototype, which will help you to successfully demold it. So don't forget to add that extra space around your measurements. And why a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch, you ask? If it's too thin and less than a 1/4 inch, it will easily tear. And if it's too thick, thicker than a 1/2 inch, it will be nearly impossible to demold. This bucket gives me about a 1/2 inch, and so I think it's perfect. We'll see. Now that that's squared away, to make demolding easier, I'm going to lubricate my master mold, aka cheap and super crafty bucket. Then I'm going to add a little bead of silicone in the middle of the underside of my dough bowl to help keep the bowl in place while in the master mold. And if you don't have silicone, you can always use double-sided tape. And if you don't have double-sided tape, you can always pick your Then I'm going to center my prototype and get ready to mix some silicone. Step number 3, mixing and pouring silicone. Before we get into mixing and pouring, I want to share a little something with you first. If you're new to the world of creating concrete candle jars, or you feel lost and just want to improve your skills, I've got something awesome for you. It's called the Winning Formula, a comprehensive course that covers everything you need to know from the basics of working with concrete to mastering your formula through the skillful use of color pigments. This course has got you covered. It's not just about teaching you how to do something, but ensuring you understand it fully so you can confidently take action. The best part, you'll have direct access to me through my private community, which means you'll save valuable time, money, and avoid a boatload of headaches. I'm here to support you every step of the way. And in addition to all of that, inside the course, you'll discover an amazing collection of bonus resources that you won't want to miss. None of this stuff is public on my YouTube channel. These extras will take your learning experience to a whole new level and help you become a pro at making concrete candle jars. Check out the link in the description for more details and start elevating your concrete candle jar making skills today. Let's go. Mixing silicone is usually as simple as adding equal parts A to equal parts B. I will list a couple of silicone brands that I like in case you want to start making your own silicone molds. Once part A and part B are added, then you stir them together for approximately 3 to 5 minutes. Make sure you get the sides and the bottom as well. The last thing you want is to have some of part A and part B not mixing. No bueno. Then, once it's thoroughly stirred together, slowly start to pour the silicone over the prototype. Don't dump it on top. Slowly pour. Once you reach approximately a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch over your prototype, stop pouring and then let it solidify for the next 24 hours. Step number 4, demolding. After 24 hours, it's time to demold your silicone mold. Sometimes silicone pops right out and sometimes it needs a little help, or in this case, a lot of help. Unfortunately, this wasn't as simple as I would have liked it and my bucket easily fell apart, but after I was able to chip away at the bucket, I successfully removed my silicone mold from inside. However, unfortunately, my $1 bucket from Dollar Tree store didn't make it. Rest in peace, bucket. Then, once it's out, it's time to cut an opening to release your prototype. I find the X-Acto knife works nicely to cut an opening. And basically, you want to follow the pattern on the bottom of your prototype, Mine is in the shape of a heart, and so I'm following that pattern. Duh, voila, and it's out. Like a baby, it's time to clean up my silicone and my prototype so I can use it in the future. How do you clean a silicone mold? Simple. I have a video I will link below, but basically you just use gentle soap and water. That usually does the trick. If that doesn't, I will link another video that will help you remove the most stubborn stain stuck on your silicone mold. And if you find your silicone to be a bit tacky, that means there was some curing inhibition. In that case, clean it up as best as you can and let it sit for another day or two. Sometimes I add a little oil to the inside to moisturize it, which in turn removes that tacky feeling. Step number 5, testing. Everything seems to be perfect thus far, but the only way to know for sure is to test out your new mold. This is a heart, so I'm going to make a red concrete heart dough bowl candle because Valentine's Day is right around the corner. But wait, how much mix do I need to add to my silicone mold so I don't waste any product? Don't worry, I have a video with an easy to follow formula in case you want to learn how to do so for yourself. I'm sure you saw that coming. I'll link that below as well. Fortunately, I did some calculating off camera, so I know I need 155 grams of water and 620 grams of cementol. And I will add in 3% red pigment and mix that in as well. Then I'll pour my mixture into my silicone mold and wait a total of 3 hours before I demold it. 3 hours has passed and now it's time to demold my red concrete heart-shaped dough bowl. And here it is. Doesn't this look awesome? It's solid, the detail is just like the original, and it's a heart just like I want it. Hold on, check this out. Here's what it looks like as a candle. It looks perfect, and boy does it smell delicious. Love it. Now I know we've covered a lot in this video, and for good reason. Making a silicone mold from a prototype is a slow process. However, if there is one thing you should remember most about what we learned today is you need a step-by-step system in order to be successful taking on a project like we completed, even with something as seemingly simple as making your own silicone mold. Because remember, making a silicone mold in a haphazard way will reap haphazard results. To help you out, you can download this simple step-by-step guide so you can easily follow the steps you learned today. I'll put a link in the description so you can download it for free. And here's the thing, when you make your own silicone mold from a prototype, it may not be perfect, but that's okay, because guess what? Success isn't linear. Concrete candle making, jars and candles are just as much an art form as a science, and balancing the two is not always an easy task. However, if you follow the step-by-step guide outlined in this video today, you will find success much faster than if you didn't. And now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to give my red concrete dough bowl candle to my wife for Valentine's Day because she deserves it. And take a look at these videos that are popping up now. They're going to help you on your concrete, hydrostone, and candle making journey. Until next time, thanks for watching. Ciao.